travelers. I'm Josh,
And I'm Kaveh.
and we're the
Genshin
Genshin guys. Welcome all. This podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by Hoyoverse, also known as MiHoYo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. If you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the podcast. So before we get started, Kahi, how are you doing today?
I am been getting less and less sleep over the week because I have a lot of games to play, a lot of anime to watch, a lot of work to work, and yes, there's just a lot on my plate right now, but it's actually good because there's a lot to do. I can stop Genshin when all my resin runs out and immediately run to Honkai Star Rail. I can stop Honkai Star Rail when, of course, all of my energy and resources are used up there and hop back into Destiny 2. I can stop Destiny 2 and watch anime, and then I can sleep. So yeah, lot to do.
Hashtag gamer life. Hashtag anime fan.
You know, funnily enough, in Destiny 2 right now, there's a whole Guardian games where you compete against other classes, which is exactly what's happening in Genshin.
Mhm.
You're competing against other classes.
Oh yeah, wow.
So there's a lot of parallels in that.
Yo, which Destiny Darshan are you in? I'm just kidding.
Titans for life. All right, and what about you, Josh? How have you been?
I've just been pretty busy actually. Been starting to work on some outside of podcast things, but also working on things for the podcast and the server. So just trying to balance my time. Of course, also playing games. Been semi-addicted to Honkai Star Rail. So
Yeah,
that's
you've been
great.
streaming a lot too.
I've been
Yeah,
streaming a lot. I've been playing Omega Strikers. This game I'm really crazy about. So if you haven't heard of that, go check it out. It's free. It's on every console. It's on iOS. It's on it's on phones. It's on PlayStation. It's on Switch. It's basically anime air hockey. It's basically League of Legends anime air hockey. That's the easiest way I can explain it. But it is free. Check it out if you haven't already. Free advertisement. They're not paying me for this. But I've just been doing a lot, trying to find balance for all these things. But it's been really great. I've been pretty good. I'm getting healthier, I guess. I'm getting over sickness, and hopefully it goes away completely by the next episode. So just getting there. Okay, so that being said, I'll introduce today's topics. As always, we have our weeks in Genshin news. Today we're going to talk about Baizhu and Kaveh impressions. And I mean how we feel about them, not us doing their impressions. And we're going to be doing the Pari World Quest discussion. So if you haven't done those quests yet, the ones that start with Sarush, that are starring Sarush, the Pari, then go check it out. It's in the new desert area, in the top left most of the map. It is really good. It's very long, and of course there's no voice acting, but we're gonna talk about that in a bit. So if you haven't done that yet, feel free to skip that part. I'll put a timestamp in the description, just so if you haven't done it yet, you can come back to it. And we're gonna talk about our community question discussion and our last wish segment, as always. So before we jump into our weeks in Genshin, I just want to give another shout out to the Discord. If you guys have not joined the Discord already, feel free to join. The link is in the description. Try to keep it wholesome in there, respectful. It's a very safe place to be, in my opinion. Me and my mods were always checking it out and making sure everything is going well. We talk about Genshin a lot, of course. We talk about the podcast. We talk about Twitch streams. We also have a weekly camera contest run by Fangirl Kazu, our moderator, and we also have Honkai Star Rail conversations if you're interested in Honkai as well. Just come check it out, and if it's not for you, feel free to head out. But if you want to stay, come and stay. We have conversations every day.
There's a channel for everything. I swear. There's food. There's pets, photography, vibes, just memes, and anime, everything.
Yeah, we try
There's
to
something
keep
for
it.
everyone.
We try to keep it not too many channels, but there is definitely enough for everybody. And I'm always looking to improve and change the server for the better to accommodate more people. So if you are interested in something and it's not there, feel free to bring it up. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe there are other people that want to make that channel. Yeah, so come and join us if you have the time. So let's get started with our first segment, our weeks in Genshin. Okay, Kahi, how has your week in Genshin Impact been?
So I got Baizhu, which is great.
Yay!
I think I hit hard pity though, because last 5-star was Dia, and I stopped immediately, so I forgot to build up some pity. So yeah, I ran into the hard pity, but I won the 50-50. I got Baizhu. I have him at level 80.
Nice.
I just gotta get some more of that violet grass, which is awesome because I have Chi-Chi, so I can just run around and know exactly where they are.
You can also farm for it in your teapot if you want.
Yeah, I can grow it. That should be fine. So yeah, I've been doing some team testing with him, and the thing is, I've been using him more of like an on-field DPS than a healer. I know,
okay.
So his healing is a little bit weird because you have to use his skill, and then as it travels out, you have to switch to the character that you want to heal, and then it receives it.
No. It's it heals everybody on your team.
It does everyone,
no matter who you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So I was only seeing one person.
When you use your burst, then it heals only the character that's active. So we'll talk about that when we get to Baizhu and Kaveh.
Okay, yeah. I switched it around. Okay. But yeah, just been leveling him, getting some artifacts, but and doing some quests here and there because I'm trying not to devote like my entirety of one available evening to the one game because I still want to try and keep up with another.
Right.
But yeah, just trying to spread out my time. What about you, Josh? How's your week in Genshin?
So I got Kaveh and Baizhu. I had a really fun stream pulling for them. I saved up. I totally skipped last banner. I didn't really roll except for our last Twitch segments. And I had like 80 pulls saved up or something like that. Didn't spend anything. And I was able to get 4 Kavehs and Baizhu, which is crazy because some people went all the way to Baizhu C2, losing 50-50. Or C1, losing 50-50 and didn't get Kaveh, like a single Kaveh. But I got really lucky, and I've been trying to level both of them, but the hardest thing is not having enough luminescent pollen. So having to kill fungi is it's just so much. Like I really have to
a certain way too.
Right? And so you have to run around killing
electro.
fungi, not using electro, not using pyro. I mean, they can still drop it. It says there's a low chance of them dropping it, but you don't want to do that on purpose. So I've been using like freeze team with Dendro, like hydro freeze and Dendro, and like just kind of doing that because like freeze bloom, because the characters I happen to have to level are like that. And yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out some teams with both of them because I really like both of them on one team. And I love Kaveh's ability to like blow up the blooms. So having Baizhu to help generate them is really cool. But yeah, I'll talk more about that when we talk about our impressions. But like that's mostly what I've been doing this week in Genshin, just like farming materials, getting on and doing bosses and trying to just use up my resin and making sure that I'm also been farming for artifacts for them, specifically the Dendro. I feel like this entire 3.0 and onward patch, I'm just like sitting and farming in this freaking domain with Deepwood Memories and Gilded Dreams. Like I feel like I'm there every day. So it's just Dendro characters are too good. Yeah, like Dendro characters are too good. It's such a valuable domain.
I'm torn between like farming that some more to get some Dendro artifacts for Baizhu, but what he has now is good. I just gotta level them up a bit, because of the weapon. But anyways.
Wait, what? Oh, so yeah.
Me and you with Baizhu, Kaveh. I haven't used Kaveh all that much.
You haven't?
I know I switched him. No, I switched to him, and I did his charge attack, and I'm like,
yeah, it's so cool,
and
right?
I went back to Baizhu.
Yeah,
it's cool. And I just went back to Baizhu.
When you use his burst and you put it on Dendro application onto his weapon, then like he spins around and just does a bunch of Dendro AoE damage. It's really cool. So but yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, great. So we both got Baizhu and Kaveh. Really, really fun to use Dendro characters. Possibly yeah, so like possibly gonna be using them in a lot of teams going forward, especially Baizhu. as like a shield or Dendro healer. Yeah, we'll get to that. So nextly, we'll talk about Genshin news. So Genshin news, there's not a lot of news at all, as always recently. I think that the news is going to be kind of chill for a little bit until Fontaine comes out. So, but just in case, we have birthdays. We have Candace on May 2nd was the only birthday this time around, this past week. And we have, in terms of other news, a Sarush event starting tomorrow. So we're going to talk about the Pari World Quest soon in this episode. And you get a little companion from that quest. And there's going to be an event based on that companion. So you have to complete the first step of the world quest called the Splendorous Sky. The Splendorous Sky that day. That's what it's called. And then you can do the Recollector's Path Trials of the Bloomguard event starting from May 8th, which is the day that we should be releasing this episode of the podcast. So if you haven't already tried it, go check it out. Maybe there's a quick start option if you haven't done it, but I think the quest is the first part of the quest is pretty short, so you might be able to just go do it. I don't know much about it other than that. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about it next week once we've done a little bit of it. But that's pretty much it for news. Other than that, we have I think they've released the wallpapers for the Parade of Providence patch, this 3.6 patch. The art with Kaveh, Al-Haytham, Sino, and Tanari, and then Baizhu. They have like the wallpaper sets, so if you're interested in those, check those out. But otherwise, we'll move on to one of our main topics of discussion for today, which is the Baizhu and Kaveh impressions that we have after checking them out. So we talked a little bit about them already, but Kahi, what are you have both of the characters. I'm assuming you did their trials.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are your first impressions from them, just like out the gate, like before you've started experimenting with them? Like, what did you feel about them? Let's start with Baizhu.
Okay, Baizhu then Kaveh, or okay,
yeah.
Kaveh then Baizhu.
Oh, okay, let's do Kaveh then Baizhu because 4-star 5-star.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Best for last. Okay, so Kaveh, anytime I see when I hear of a Claymore person with elemental infusion, the first thing I think of is Noelle. Okay, Noelle was the one of my favorite Claymore users for a very long time, since 1.0.
Right.
Because she heals while she's attacking. Her range is huge. You do one charge attack, you hit the whole field. It's fun. So when I was using Kaveh and I was doing his attacks with elemental infusion, I'm like, okay, this seems pretty okay. It looks cool. It just feels I don't want to say underwhelming, but it feels like I expected it to be more of a spectacle. I keep thinking his attacks are supposed to be bigger, because you cast an elemental burst, and then you start attacking. I keep thinking it's supposed to have more reach.
You just play too much Noelle, man.
I know, I do. I play too much Noelle. Even
the range is bigger.
Even Eula,
they get bigger.
It is,
but it's only slightly compared to
only slightly.
Noelle.
Yeah, the expectation I have from Noelle, I think I'm just spoiled. I'm also expecting healing, but I'm not. Because I see green, I typically think, oh, I'm getting healed. No, I'm not. I'm doing damage, but I'm not getting healed. Which is why Baizhu to me makes sense. Nahida, I've only been using with Zhongli's shield, because I don't want Nahida to get hit at all. I don't think my Nahida's ever taken damage. Because I'm so paranoid of protecting
Protect
Nahida.
the baby.
Protect! Must protect! Kaveh is very... he's simple. He's simple enough. He has a AoE skill use, and it triggers all the blooms, it triggers all of the what are they called again? Not seedlings. Blooms, hyper blooms.
Bloom, hyper bloom.
What are they actually called? What if they was seedlings?
Bloom core, dendro core.
Dendro cores. Okay. Yeah, you immediately blows them up. And what's nice is that you don't get damaged by them if you trigger them. So that's a neat little plus.
Well, you get damaged, but you actually just heal it back. It's like a Kaveh thing.
Wait, it actually does lower your HP?
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn they said it didn't.
No, I think Hyper Bloom doesn't. But Bloom does.
Okay, I gotta read that description again. But
yeah, that's why
he's a good character.
People kill themselves if they don't have a healer, which is why Kokomi is so important, or Barbara.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me pull it up. This is on my mind now because when he casts his skill.
Are you talking
Okay,
about
well, while I
Kaveh?
look this up, yeah, while I look this
So
up,
Kaveh
what are your
takes
impressions?
Kaveh takes damage from cores, but I think his second passive, or one of the passives you get from leveling him up, gives him the ability to heal back damage when he gets hit by Dendro core damage, that he heals himself based on, I think, his elemental mastery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, when damage dealt by a Dendro core hits Kaveh, he will regain HP equal to. Oh, okay, so that's why I.
Yeah, so that's why it
So
feels
he
like when you
does
use
get hit,
Kaveh,
but
he doesn't
interesting.
take damage, as long as he's getting hit by Dendro core. But if you what's it called? If the Dendro core damage does more than your healing, and then you get hit by enemies, you will die. Like, like,
Okay.
yeah. Which is why I also
Oh,
have Baizhu just in case on the same team most of the time.
when this was a while ago, but when they introduced the chasm, there was this artifact set that specifically triggers like when your HP goes low. I'm trying to figure out what it was.
Well, like
You
the
remember the
thing is
set I'm talking
the
about?
thing is, I don't know about that one, but
Mm-hmm.
all I know is that, like, the thing is, you don't want his HP to go low. Like,
Well,
it's
no,
not
you don't want
reliable.
anyone.
Like, you would have to get
Yeah.
hit because what's it called? The chorus thing is really hectic. Like, one of the characters that would be like you can keep their HP low is like Xiao or Hu Tao,
Mm-hmm.
because their abilities take their own HP, as opposed to like a reaction taking it, or even like Kuki. Is
Oh,
there
I
a
found it.
set? What is it?
Vermilion Hereafter
Oh yeah,
set.
so that's the Xiao set. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
why.
So when
When
the
you take
character's HP
damage.
decreases, their attack will further increase by 10%, further increase up to a maximum of 4 times.
Yeah, so that would make sense actually, because like you
Mm-hmm.
do get hit in Bloom teams. The thing is, like, the attack stat doesn't do much for Bloom reactions. It's more about elemental mastery. So
You know what's weird? It doesn't say like how long it lasts. Normally it says for like 10 seconds or 20 seconds. It just says increase. So yeah, okay. Otherwise, first impressions, yeah, Kaveh's good. I'm sure he can work into some interesting teams. But if I had to like, I think I said this a while ago when we were thinking about Baizhu. If I needed in Dendro characters in general, I think it was about when Alhaitham was coming out. I wasn't planning to roll for Alhaitham because I already had Nahida, and if I needed a Dendro applicator, it would be Nahida.
mm-hmm.
Kaveh is kind of the same thing, but Baizhu is a little bit different because he is specifically a healer and a shielder. But what are your impressions of Kaveh so far? Do you like him? You find a good team?
Okay, so by the way, I just looked it up, and that the attack buff from Vermilion Hereafter is 16 seconds.
Wow,
1/6.
that's a while.
Yeah. So for Kaveh, I mean, I really like his design. Obviously, when you play, I think if you play Parade of Providence, you will just like his character more in general. Like, Parade of Providence is so funny because someone was saying this. Like, Parade of Providence is kind of like a 4-star story quest for Kaveh, and Layla, because like they're like the two main characters, sort of. So I don't want to spoil
Oh,
anything.
Layla Hangouts. I gotta do
Yeah.
those.
But it's pretty cool. Like, his character's really cool. So playing him, I really liked, of course, his animations are very flashy. Like, he uses like this suitcase. He doesn't even he never touches his sword, Kahi, except for one animation,
Which
where
I like.
his
Just the cosmetics of it.
his
is
diving
awesome.
attack, he actually, like, the case makes the sword, and then he like slams the sword on the ground with his hand. But then he takes up his hand like it's like he hurt his own hand, or it's heavy or something like that. So
He normally doesn't do this.
yeah, and so it was really great seeing that. And so yeah, I really like his playstyle. What I've done is like okay, I'll talk more about my build in a second, but as far as like his skill, I think it's really cool, and I like to use it more. So that's why I'm using Sacrificial Greatsword on him. Also because I want energy recharge for his burst to come back more often. But I like that he can be this like on-field Dendro driver, kind of like Alhaitham, but he can blow up those Dendro cores on command. And so I've just been having a lot of fun with him, seeing all the green numbers, and I've been putting him with Baizhu so that I don't have to worry about health stuff. and also about Dendro application when my cooldown is down. So I've been trying him with different teams. Like I said, the Bloom Freeze team, just Bloom team. I haven't actually tried him with like Electro yet, but to me he feels really smooth and really fun, and he just looks cool. So it's kind of easy to just enjoy playing him for me because of how cool he looks. So and Dendro's just good in general. So there's a lot of things I could try that I'm sure I haven't tried yet. Like I was really thinking about trying a Toma Burgeon team with him, but yeah, we'll see. I
his
like
skill
putting
is
him
short
together.
cooldown too.
His
Like
skill is
just
5 seconds. Yeah,
six, I think. Okay.
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
I'm doing great sacrificial anyway, so I can blow up more.
Yeah. He's well-rounded character. I like him.
Yeah. So what
I
about
I'm not gonna put him on my
Baizhu?
main teams,
Oh,
but yes, Baizhu.
yes. So tell me about
Um,
Baizhu.
so for Baizhu, I actually gave him. Let me pull up my character here. So I gave him the Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds.
Oh,
Now, if you have this one, right? You put it on Wanderer.
yeah, it's the crit rate one, right?
Yep. It matches Bayou's outfit perfectly, so I can't take it off.
I
No, because
see.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, it has the same light greens, same like lavender colors, and it's just like a constant elemental damage boost, and makes him move around a little bit more. So I think this weapon is kind of why I've been using him more of a DPS, so I can get the damage buffs, and it just matches him aesthetically. So yeah, I found the weapon for him. Which kind of leads me to my team build. So I've been using him with a dual hydro because the HP boost. So I
Mhm.
have Yalan and Xingqiu, and I also have Kuki. So I have a good hyper bloom team. I have the HP boost, so he can heal more, and even though I can build him more into damage because I'm getting HP buffs from somewhere else. I just have to get his talents up in order to get him to unlock his full potential. But his charge attack is like really cool. I've always been a fan of like charge attacks that have like this kind of like this lightning strike from above kind of thing. It's kind of why I like what is Kujosara's burst.
Mhm.
This is little lightning strike. You have Yaimiko's burst, which is super big lightning strike. I like the looks of that. So Baizhu has one where he does it like a Dendro laser beam. It's just that he only has 4 basic attacks, and they're pretty slow and they're short range. I keep thinking they're longer range because he's a catalyst user, but his playstyle is like self-preservation, constant reapplication of shielding. I know there's artifacts that could take advantage of the reapplication of a shield. Like what was it, the retracing bolide?
Mhm.
It's from like the Leeway set. Do
Yep.
I have one?
Yeah. Retracing bullet is right.
Yeah.
Like character does more damage when they have a shield.
While protected, gain
Yeah.
additional 40% normal charge. I might try to dabble with those because one of the reasons why I don't want to do that because it says increase shield strength by 35%, even though it is programmed to dissipate and then reapply.
Right.
So
Yeah, it seems
I mean,
not
technically
optimal.
it's a constant
Honestly,
shield.
like
Yeah, it doesn't seem that optimal.
it seems like you
Maybe
should
like
just
a
put
niche.
two gladiator set type 18% attack bonuses instead or something.
So yeah, my Baizhu sitting at 51% crit rate, 106% crit damage, which is pretty. I want more crit damage, but it's like.
So you're trying to build Baizhu as DPS.
Mm-hmm.
So funny. Cause
How do you
I
know?
was
How do
thinking
you
about-
normally play him?
Huh?
How do you normally play him?
Well, I try to play him the way his like kit, lends itself to playing
Support.
him, which is like off-field Dendro support. But I like switching to him and just like using him sometimes. But basically, Bloom because I have Kaveh out, and I just bring Baizhu to put the shield and to do the snake thing. Now, I was thinking about making like a DPS Baizhu build too. I just think it would take a lot of resources right now, and I don't really have something for that right now, I think. But I do love his attack animations and his and I like his elemental skill. I'm actually trying to go for his C1 like until his banner's gone. I'm just going to keep rolling. And because I want 2 charges of the snake for his skill, which
Oh,
would be really
speaking of
nice.
which, he has this character has two voice actors because
Yeah,
Changcheng. There's only one other character that technically has another voice actor in the playable character. Yeah, I think that's official. I mean, technically, Guoba has like two voice Zhongling and Guoba is technically two voice actors, but you don't
right.
ever hear Guoba's voice when you're playing.
That's true.
It's like during
I
cutscenes
see.
and
You're
stuff.
talking about
But
like Oz, right? Okay.
yeah, so Baizhu has Changcheng, Fischl has Oz.
The doctor will
I,
see you now. That's what she says in
I
English.
still ha- I still have it in Japanese.
Oh, I switched so much now.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I love Kave's English voice, but I love Baiju's
Hmm.
Japanese voice. So like I switch, and they're on the same team for me, so I keep switching the voices
Kaveh
back and
has a
forth.
good voice. Yes,
Yeah.
it's sassy. It has
It's so expressive.
personality.
Yeah, yeah. I really
Yes,
like it.
very. It's a good performance. I do like that.
Yeah, so that's good. For me, Baizhu, like, I'm not billing him DPS, but what I really like about him is that he just feels like and someone put this like in a really easy to understand way for me. He's like the Dendro Zhongli, but he also heals. So I feel pretty safe when I have him on my team. Like as long as he's like decently built up or whatever. I feel like I can take as many hits as I need to. I feel like I can just run into stuff. I can take risks dodging because I'll be able to heal it back, or I'll have a shield that lets me take the hit or something like that. So I really like that he makes my team feel like that no matter who's on it, because sometimes like I've been not using Zhongli for a while on purpose, just to like learn more
I can
enemy
see that.
attacks and stuff. I still use him when I'm using Yoimiya or Hutao because like without him, those characters kind of don't feel as safe to play. But yeah, I've just been really enjoying Baizhu. And I feel like he's the kind of character that could go on any team that has anything that has to do with Dendro. So yeah, he's kind of like the new Nahida, but like support version, which is cool. So Nahida's still good and it will always be relevant. But if you want someone to heal your team, I feel like Nahida Baizhu is going to be like a lot of spread teams or version teams or whatever. So we'll see. I don't know. It's just really fun. I like that he's really fun to play and I can put him anywhere. That's what I like.
Another thing I like is that I know his character is designed very well. It's very unique in how it does. It's it sends out the snake, but then it kind of like lingers and then returns to you. Or if there's enemies, it jumps to the enemies, then returns to you. I know that it reminds me like back when Cookie came out. Like it doesn't make sense that Cookie like damages herself and then sends out like this AoE and then like slowly heals over time. Even she was not really considered good back then until Sumeru came out, and then has all these like other elemental interactions, and now apparently she's like A tier or S tier sometimes.
Yeah, she's
depending
kind of
on
irreplaceable in a lot of teams.
yeah. So people got used to her because at first, in the current availability of characters, she didn't really mix well. So what my hope for is now that I have Baizhu, and then I do like Bloom and Hyper Bloom. When Fontaine comes out with all the Hydro characters, there's gonna be that one that really mixes very well with Baizhu. So I definitely am going to be looking forward to some Hydra characters. I might just hold out until the Archon, honestly, because I have like Yelan, I have Mona, I have Shincho,
We'll
I have
see,
good
right?
Hydro.
Because they could come out
We'll
with
see.
like non-Hydro characters at the beginning, like no problem,
Right. But like I'm looking forward to a character that will make more sense with another character.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I
that makes
could
sense.
definitely get this person on a team and it'll perform wonderfully.
Or
So
just any
I have that
character
to
whose
look forward
aesthetic
to.
you like, right?
Yeah.
Like the circus
Tall
kids,
characters.
the circus
The
people.
circus kids. Oh man, I can't wait to see those.
I'm just so curious about like what their attack animations are gonna be like,
But artifacts. So I basically just have like the 4-piece artifact set.
Which one?
4-piece Dendro.
Oh yeah, of course.
the
That's kind
Deepwood
of the
memories.
ideal,
Mm-hmm.
I think, for him right now.
Yeah, skiller burst hits targets. Dendro resistance decreased.
Yep.
And yeah, and Dendro damage bonus. So because I'm using him as a Dendro damage dealer.
Do you have another Dendro character on your team?
No, I know like he could, but I want like the double Hydro and a Electro character. I have Kuki on his team.
I see. Because
So
you could, if you want if you want him to do more damage, I think that a lot of people do is like they'll to buff their Dendro character kind of. Like you could put Dendro you can put that Dendro 4-piece set on Kuki, and then when she hits someone, then with her skill, then it also shreds the resistance, and then you can just have Baizhu have 2-piece Dendro damage set plus 2-piece attack set or something like that.
okay, so my Kuki currently is using the Gilded Dreams because she benefits from Elemental Mastery because she does heal and damage more based on that. And her weapon is the Key of Kajnisut, which is originally supposed to be for Nilu.
Uh-huh.
So Kuki benefits from HP main stat, but also gets an Elemental Mastery damage buff based on her EM.
Interesting. I feel like you should look into that because I feel like you probably get more out of one of those stats than the other one. I don't think I've ever seen people run Gilded Dreams on Kuki, but I don't know.
Well, because here's the thing, her talent healing amount will be increased by 75% of Elemental Mastery, and damage dealt is increased by 25% of Elemental Mastery. So the weapon is HP, just HP percentage, but it increases Elemental Mastery by 0.15%, of max HP.
Oh, right.
Which stacks 3 times, and the artifact is attack is increased by 14% for each party member whose elemental is the same, and Elemental Mastery is increased by 50 for everyone who is different.
Does it do a lot of damage?
I do a lot of healing and damage.
Are you happy with it?
Because
right, cool.
I mean she's not the main DPS, and because like the Electro is like a short range AoE.
I was just thinking, okay, so I was just giving you a suggestion. If you want to see Baizhu do as high damage numbers as possible by himself, then that's just an extra suggestion.
Well, I'm still leveling him, so
true. Eventually. Yeah. I would love to see like him do his like 3 trigrams, 64 pounds, like.
Yeah, that's he's like Neji.
Yeah.
He's literally like that. Was it last Hyuga? The Hyuga style.
I mean, so overall, seems like Baizhu and Kaveh are pretty strong additions to the lineup, I think. And I think I mentioned this before. I don't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast, but like, we got so many Dendro characters. Once we have Kirara next patch, we'll have as many Dendro characters as Geo characters that are in the game, period. And that says a lot. And I know we didn't have the element for 2 years, but, you know, it sounds like maybe we won't get Dendro characters for a while. Like, I could see that just because we just got so many at once that now they're going to start building on Fontaine characters and Hydro characters and whatever else characters you can find in Fontaine. What I like about Fontaine is that it's like this like engineering hub, like technology hub sort of kind of place. And arts. And so like we could just see like the most varied character designs coming out of here, which I'm super excited for. So yeah, so we'll see. I just like these 2 characters. We'll see how Kirara is once she comes out. I'm not even planning on rolling for her, so yeah, just because I don't want to.
I have to save.
I don't want to try to get a 4-star, but I don't know. I might try a little bit. If Mika is on the same banner too, I might try, especially because like I don't have Mika, so if I have a chance of getting 2 of the guaranteed 4 stars or the 2 characters I don't have, then I might try. But I got really lucky with Kaveh, and I got lucky with Baizhu. I also won the 50-50. So
didn't someone in the Discord get like all 4 characters like on one pool?
Oh yeah, I think it was on Reddit. I think someone posted it in the Discord on Reddit, from Reddit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got like all 4 characters, and like, well, you're done.
Yeah, like that's nice. So I think that I'm enjoying them. We'll see how they evolve in our own play styles going forward. I'm really curious to see Kahi's damage Baizhu, figure that out, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So Okay, so moving on to our next section, we'll be talking about the Pari World Quest, or it's called, as it's known in game, the Khvarena of Good and Evil quest. And the Pari are these little creatures that exist in this area, which I think we've never heard of up until now. And they're a race of like bird flower like creatures. And they come from like the divine bird Simurgh, who was in the Varukasha Oasis in the new 3.6 like Girdle of Sands like area in Sumeru Desert. And they consider their god to be the former Hydro Archon, who was stained with corruption during the Cataclysm. And you basically travel with Sorush, the one of the Pari, and you're trying to you get commissioned by the Adventurers Guild, and you try to find the what is it? You get commissioned by the Adventurers Guild, and if you look up in the sky in this new area, you will see a tree that's like shooting light into a portal in the sky. It's like a very crazy sight to see. And they call it the sign of Apeosha. And so you meet with this Pari Sorush, you try to figure out how to stop it, and you meet a lot of other Pari. You meet some people called the Nagarjunites, or the Order of Skeptics, and try to figure out how to close or to get rid of the sign of Apoisha and kind of save the Pari and kind of everybody. I think there's something.
They're not really a darshan, right? They're just like an offshoot group of academia people.
Yeah, they have like their own beliefs about what's happening here in this area, in the Varukasha Oasis area.
They're more like a club than a darshan.
Yeah, and they're apparently their style was too extreme for the academia to accept them, and their studies.
I'll show all of you. That's basically their whole idea.
Yeah, and so I don't want to get too deep into the summary, but because there's a lot of names that I cannot pronounce, and it is a very long
Side
quest.
characters, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recommend going to watch a video on YouTube if you play through the whole quest and you still have some confusion about it.
Understandably.
Yes, and it is a lot of running around this new area, finding objects, fighting some enemies, and you also have this new mechanic where you can control Sorush directly to interact with puzzles around the map. And Sorush can fly, right? Now, this is like a whole new mechanic in the game. Like Sorush can fly up and down freeform from a pretty far distance away from the traveler. And it was really cool trying a lot of these puzzles. So, first I want to start with our thoughts on the new area. So Kahi, what did you think about this new area, which whose names I've already forgotten? The what is it called?
Pulling it up right now. Then just loading
the Gavere, Lajavard, and the Realm of Farakert. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so what do you think of this new 3.6 added desert area?
I like it. It is very full. I think I mentioned this last episode too. While I was trying to do the story, I got all super distracted by all the chests available. There's a lot of loot. So honestly, you go you walk for 10 seconds, you already see a really cool looking chest. Some of them are locked behind a simple puzzle. Some are locked by a really big puzzle where you have to kind of go to 3 areas all around and get some enemies down and then go all the way back and then pick up the chest. So there's a lot. If you just want, even if you aren't planning to do the story for whatever reason, just run through it and you can get a lot of free stuff. There's a lot of Dendroculus here too. There's some that are very, very close together. I love the fact that you can reposition the little tethers, the tethering points, so that you can choose where you want to fly to.
The 4-leaf sigils.
I love that, but you have to use Sorush to do it, which is fine. Sorush becomes a gadget, so you can't use your own gadgets. You can't have your food.
Right.
I've seen people I don't. I'm sure you've seen the clip of this. They're casting like their elemental bursts or their skills, and it actually stays with Sarush, and they fly Sarush into the enemies.
Oh, I've not seen that. What the heck? That's crazy.
It works. It actually works. I don't think they are able to kill anything, but if you have any kind of skill that applies an aura effect around you, you can cast it, and technically the game will treat Sarush as you because you're controlling it. You're moving around. It takes you can't see your own character when you cast when you like go when you control Sarush, and then you fly around. The effect will still apply. So like you can still see the shield. You can still see like there's one where they had Kaya's ice crystals still floating around,
Wow.
and like it was just freezing everyone, and then running all the way back. It's pretty funny, but I like this new system where you can explore more without having to worry about getting hit or consuming stamina, and just repositioning the sigils. It's really good. It really helps you get to some places. It is required obviously for certain puzzles or quest progression.
Right.
Overall, I like the new areas. Very, very stylish. The cave systems, especially the new tree, is just so bright, so like mystic. Yeah, very.
Oh, by
very
the way,
pleasing
in
to the eyes.
the realm of Farakert place, or the place where the big tree is, I love the
Yep.
music there. It's
Oh,
so
it's
good.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just walking through like some slight puddles,
Mhm.
and then you have like the bright blue flowers that are in like that spiral
Oh yeah, the puzzle. There's a
design.
puzzle for that too.
Yep. At first I thought it was like the geo symbol because
Right.
geo has like that swirl. I thought it was related, but no. Um, yeah, I like this new area, and it evolves. So just like in the desert, the pyramid, I guess it's not really a spoiler at this point, but the big swirling cloud that goes into the pyramid, you can turn that off.
You can turn that off.
This one, yeah, the big hole in the ground becomes a lot prettier. So if you really want to see how the zone changes, I do love how the zone ends up. So even if you're not a story person, if you like evolving worlds, you may want to do this quest. It's actually really good because the effect you can see from the other side of the map.
Yeah.
What about you, Josh? Impressions of the area? Do you like it?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love the music. I love the aesthetic. I think it's a nice change of pace from like the open world desert that we've been kind of in this whole time. And
kind of a mix. You get some flora and fauna.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's more vertical, right? Like this one, and there's like caves and things. And yeah, that big tree, you can totally see it from like the jade thing. Oh no, you can see it from Dragonspine.
The glowing tree?
Yeah. So I tried this. I tried this on
far.
stream. I went to Dragonspine, and by where the Statue of Severn is, when you teleport there, if you go to the edge, like of the mountain,
I'm gonna go
like,
there
as
right
close
now.
as you can.
Dragonspine.
And make sure your graphics are all the way up. And this was on PC, right? Like on when I tried to max it out as much as possible.
Wait, the domain or the statue?
The Statue of Severn. and if you get closer to the edge, you can see it. But if you turn the camera away from it, it disappears. Like it stops being rendered. Like it's like the actual edge of like where you can see it from, like the farthest edge.
Oh, I might need to do it on my computer because I'm on my iPad.
If you're on iPad, there's no way. I don't think it's gonna render that far.
No.
But for PlayStation 5 and for PC, it should render. But yeah, I was testing out like how far can I see this, because this is gigantic.
Ooh, that is crazy. That's a far distance. I had to scroll a lot.
Yeah.
On this map.
So yeah, so that was fun looking for that. But yeah, I really like the new area. This is another quest where I really wish it was voice acted. Like the R&R quest is one thing. It has like a lot of different characters, a lot of different hard words to pronounce, and etc. etc. It would help if it was voice acted, but it wasn't like so compelling of a story. Like at least doing the quests, for like the random quest you have to do for all the R&R. Like if it's not voice, it's like okay, whatever. But the Jet quest, Golden Slumber quest, that was, very emotional. There was a lot of character development and characters there, and I think it would have been really great to be voiced. And I think this quest is also a really good contender for a quest that should be voiced in the game. Obviously, it's a world quest with a lot of effort put into it, but yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of the interactions with Sarush and the other Pari in this quest. And during my stream, I voiced a lot of the characters, which was really fun. But yeah, we were just imagining, like, I did one quest, like, how there's like the Amrita pool where you can like bring the kind of like the sigils.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a clip on my Twitch where like the guy's like, oh, like, you gotta bring the things to the Amrita pool or something, and one of the people, the viewers, had me use like a British accent. So I was like, hello, traveler. Were you here to put the sigils in the Amrita pool? Like, I was like imagining what it would be like with all this like random voice acting. But yeah,
you should just add a voice
yeah,
to like
one
an unvoiced character just randomly.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that you can imagine it yourself, but at the same time, like, this game benefits so much from the voice acting. I feel like it should just be everywhere. I would love for every quest to be voiced. You know what I mean?
That's why I appreciate Honkai Star Rail, because even certain side quests have like full voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good. It helps with the immersion.
Yeah, exactly. It helps with the immersion. So yeah, so from this story quest, Kahi, is there anything else that like stuck out to you from it, like the actual story quest itself?
Okay, so there's a specific line, and I only took like one screenshot of this because I felt like that's a pretty important detail. That's pretty huge, pretty big lore reveal. So it says by Zervan, like the main like elder,
Pari.
the elder Pari. So he says, the god safeguarding this place is rejected by the time flowing throughout this land, and so are we. So I'm like, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it sounds cool,
So,
right?
Yes, so first of all, there's a god safeguarding the place. Okay, that's huge. Time flowing throughout this land rejects the god and the Pari themselves. There's a lot to unpack in that one sentence. So, you said like they used to worship someone that was the previous Hydra Archon, was that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Apparently there's no god left because time rejected it. But then for time, the flow of time to reject a god, time is a really big factor in this whole thing. Because like the tree itself like gets rebuilt, technically rebuilt. It just gets pulled back out of. I keep referring to it like a wormhole, because when you look in, if you look like into it before you did the whole revitalization quest, you can actually see like where the other end of that portal looks like, and you're looking down at the broken tree.
Right.
So it's linked to those two areas. So time flowing throughout this land. Time can be broken. Time is a stream, can be manipulated. You can explore it. You can see its effects. You can technically kind of see into the past. It's also hilarious throughout this whole time. For me, it's almost a meme at this point. Like anytime this says, "Oh, something happened a long time ago," I'm gonna say, "You know what? Let me guess. 500 years ago." And the very next line is, "Oh, 500 years ago." I was laughing. I was actually laughing when they said 500 years ago we had this event happen. I'm like, they keep being so blatant about it. I have a feeling I had this theory like several episodes ago. Like if we ever had like a continuation of Genshin or a Genshin 2, we're gonna be playing this whole game again from the perspective of 500 years ago.
Well, that's the thing, is like I think
it has to.
I feel like it wouldn't be a new game. It would just be a different mode in this game that we just like.
Oh yeah, like a new section or a new expansion will be, hey, play 500 years ago. Yeah. And then they're setting up all these really awesome characters in the actual lore, in cutscenes, but like the hand-drawn 2D cutscenes. The models are there. The characters are there. They're explained very well. They existed 500 years ago. Genshin does this great thing where they set up a character and like their arrival in the future, and then suddenly they're here. Everyone wants to pull for the character. They can easily do this kind of stuff. So they do well at doing constant setups and payoffs, setups and payoffs. So it seems to be kind of a waste to like have a detail like this and it never be brought up later on. So I don't think I don't really think there's ever been like a wasted storyline because there's always been some kind of tie-in to the main storyline, just like Tainari's quest, the Karkata, the machine keeps popping up, and like the Darshan that he was a part of, or like the scientist, yeah, keeps popping up. It keeps getting referenced. Like it's important. The driving force. It's part of what's going on in the background with the academia. So
yeah, I mean,
I thought that was a big line.
Yeah, just 500 years ago, obviously, Cataclysm, everything was a big catalyst for a lot of the current world, the way that Teyvat is currently. So, yeah, it makes sense that they keep talking about it. I wonder if we will ever get to see it or play through it, especially since they've kind of given us the ability to play through our sibling, through the Caribert quest, and like even if we're playing through it as ourselves, but as our sibling, you know what I mean? Like that could be one way of us being able to experience what happened 500 years ago. So
one thing about story that I have to keep reminding myself, the story and the game is not built for 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. It's not built for adults. It's meant to be absorbed and digested by like a younger crowd.
Wait,
kids.
what story?
It's meant to be the story, just in general.
For this
it's
game?
It's not crafted for a very specific age demographic. It's meant to be experienced by everyone. The reason why I have to bring it up like that is because when we're going into like the mechanical tunnels and trying to get that one last there's like 3 little Dendro spirits we had to get, and then we ran into that evil doctor or the evil like teacher scientist guy, and he's like, yeah, let me hold on to those for you. Like,
right.
It's so blatantly obvious he's the bad guy. That's such a bad guy thing to do. But
okay, so yeah,
little things like that.
So yeah, the story itself, I know a lot of people have had their gripes with as far as like the way a lot of the story is presented, and it's gotten better. But yeah, I mean, obviously that guy was like the most like obviously a bad guy character we've had in a while, and not in a cool way, not like Dottore, you know what I mean? So yeah, basically it was like
not morally gray, just dark.
It was like evil for evil's sake almost. Like it was really lame. So, but I get that. We have still, I don't know, like this whole situation, as important and as connected as it is to the lore of the game, it seems very removed from the main storyline, right? So
it's a remote area, off to the side.
So
it's not like Dragon Spine.
It's kind of like its own thing.
It's like, Dragon Spine, I feel like is still relevant because it was, a dark dragon above like where there's a spike, was it a heavenly nail?
Yeah, the celestial nail. Yeah, but the thing is like nail. What's it called? That's also where Albedo lives, and Albedo's main story takes place there, right? So, I think Dragonspine just is just like inherently just more important of a place. Like we don't know anybody. None of the other characters interact with this place specifically. They mentioned what's his name? So they mentioned the Traveler's sibling coming through before, right? And they mentioned the one-eyed mage, the Khvarena mage. Oh yeah,
there were two like there are no names, but like two they described the look of 2 people that were integral to like the starting of this thing. The one-eyed mage I remember. I forget how they described the other one. That was towards the ending of the quest.
Well, it was like the blonde person, just like you.
Wait, is that what they said? Oh,
yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to remember all the dialogue because it's been a little while because we wanted to give
it's Honkai.
We do this because we we there's that. We try to give people enough time to go through the story because we don't want to talk about it too early because then of course it kind of spoils it for people who are just at the end because if it's within the first week of opening, some people may play it at different times of day or some people work, some people don't, but we try to hold off until like maybe like the latter half or the ending of the story or the patch because
Mm-hmm.
these are kind of big reveals sometimes and we don't want to ruin it for some people, so we hold off. But from what I remember, the one-eyed mage, was that referring to Dainsleif?
So okay, here's what it says. So the masked swordsman, which is the blonde, the masked swordsman from Khvarena, would leave the Sea of Flowers alongside a young man with golden hair just like yours, and this person's character is Lumine, right? So Dane's
Could that be
left with the
Dainsleif?
traveler.
Is he a sword person?
Yeah, he's a swordsman, and he has a mask.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it says one-armed sage, but we don't really know much about that, so we will have to see in the future. I'm sure there's a bunch of theory videos that talk about it, which we'll look into and get back to, and of course we can always discuss it in the Discord. So, so final thoughts on this Khvarena of Good and Evil story quest, Kahi. What do you want to see next?
I liked it. Okay, if I had to like wrap up Sumeru with one final quest, I would want like what do they call it? Like a victory lap kind of quest where we just run through from the beginning. Hey, you start from here, see how everything changed from like when you first came into Sumeru all the way to like the desert, and just a story summary of like what's going on. But there'll be like a fun little quest, but if I had to choose something that has like a bigger implication or bigger connection to main storyline, I would want to see something with that big pyramid with King Deshret. I know we haven't seen the last of it because I feel like there's so much more down there. The thing about like old ancient buried ruins is that there are always going to be like some secrets. There's always going to be some bigger treasure that we have yet to find, and if there's a whole city buried there, what would it be like if the whole city were to be uncovered? Because maybe there's a big machine that just blows all the sand away, and then hey, look, this is what the old world used to look like. That'll be awesome. But until we get that, I think I'm actually very satisfied with whole 3.0 to like 3.8, 3.7. Yeah, well, all from the beginning to now, it's just been chock full of like stuff. It's more than like 1.0, 2.0. I mean, Inazuma was great, don't get me wrong, aesthetically it was great, but just Sumeru just had like the most stuff we've ever had in the game so far. So if it only goes up from here, oh my goodness, that's gonna be a lot. I think for Fontaine or for anything, I just want more fleshed out details. Open-ended stories can be good, but if they're just gonna be like, oh, we'll tune in next time, or hey, maybe we'll see something more. Sometimes a completed story might feel better. Because there can eventually be too many stories to remember going forward. So if you forget one and then they come back, it's gonna still feel like it's brand new just because we can't remember everything. It's really hard to make an unforgettable quest line. So as far as like everything up to now, I still remember Jet, because like she kept popping up like over every single patch ever since we first interacted with her and the dad. This last area was good. I like how it introduced new ways to explore the areas. Gave us some last minute bunches of chests to get some materials for all of our other characters. But yeah, I like it. What about you? Any final impressions?
Yeah, I mean, for final impressions for me, kind of like you were saying, like this. So Sumeru has so many side stories, kind of like we have the Aranara, we have Jet's quest, we have this Pari quest, and they're all relatively long and have to do with something in some way. But I'm wondering if they're just meant to be here in Sumeru during this time to fill space. And and then like we just forget about them. Will we come back to them? Like, will they be referenced again? Like, this Pari one feels really important to me um, because of the fact that you get Sarush as like a gadget. But I'm curious to see if Sarush comes back up in the main story at some point. And but like I don't know if they would, because if Sarush comes back in the main story, then that would mean that you would be required to do the Pari quest, which could always be a
Wouldn't
thing.
that mean
They
she
could add
didn't
it.
fulfill her duty or destiny? Like, 'cause they have like a very weird view of death because they exist to fulfill a mission. So I mean, if we keep seeing her again, then
Well, I
she's
mean, I don't
not
know
really
about
doing what she
keep
was
seeing
destined
her.
for.
Just I mean, like, do we see them again ever at all? Because, chances are we won't see the Aranara outside of Sumeru, right? And we're about
Yeah,
to move
most
on to
likely not.
Fontaine, so I wonder if it's gonna be similar. Like, where we're gonna, because I feel like we didn't get as much of this in Inazuma. Like, we did get the Tsurumi Island with like Rue and that whole story, which was like a whole separate thing. But we got basically that times 3 in Sumeru. We got 3 different places that were kind of dedicated to these side stories, and I'm just curious to see like how going forward, like if how often we will refer to these stories going forward. And yeah, I think it's nice. I think it's nice for like the world building and stuff. But just curious, you know. But I think it was like the area was really nice. I think the story was, like I said, it was a pretty good journey with Sarush, kind of finding out more about like herself and everything, and how the Pari are. It's just kind of weird because like Pari, even after spending all this time in Sumeru, we just met the Pari and then find out how important they are.
Suddenly.
Yeah, it was kind of like random. It was like out of nowhere. Like nobody was expecting this. So I'm curious how many more of those we'll get in the future. Like, new patch drop, here's this new thing. But it also makes you think like, okay, so Teyvat has a lot of these like mystical creatures, right? Like, the Adepti and what have you, and the Aranara. And I remember at the beginning we were kind of talking about how, at some point I remember having a conversation about Paimon and how sus she is, and like, what is Paimon? Why does everyone just accept
Yeah,
Paimon?
no one knows what Paimon is.
But like,
yeah, even like these ancient creatures.
if things like the Pari exist, like, I guess people aren't surprised like that Paimon exists. Honestly, they're just like, oh, another magical creature. Oh, well, nice to meet you. Like, obviously some people might be more used to it than others, but yeah, I just feel like I'm really curious to see how these stories come back in some way, whether it's through another side quest or whether it relates directly to the main story. But that's just my final thoughts on this Pari quest. So cool.
Welcome
so that being
surprise.
so that being said, let's move on to our community question discussion. So last week we asked, have you tried Honkai Star Rail, or are you planning on it? What are your impressions so far? And of course, this is because our last episode was about Genshin versus Star Rail. And yes, so for me, my impression is yes, I've tried it. Yes, I'm caught up to the story. Yes, I'm currently addicted a little bit. It is a very fun game to be. I'm sure the hype will die down a little bit more, but I am fully determined to hit max level eventually and try to build up my teams as much as possible, and keep up with the content. What about you, Kahi?
I like it. I'm liking my experience so far. I'm nowhere near end game. I'm still like in the middle of the story. I still have a whole another planet to visit. I am still free to play. I didn't even purchase like their battle pass thing. I'm gonna try and stay free to play as long as I can. I don't really plan on spending in this game because, oddly enough, all the characters that you naturally get are actually still really good and really relevant.
They are.
I had my guaranteed 5-star, which was Welt, which is awesome.
He's amazing.
And the recent,
He's amazing.
he is great. Yeah, very photogenic. I mean, really liking the photo mode in this game because I feel like I turn the heads a little bit easier. I can get like, I can't adjust like the focal length or the f-stop, which is, I guess I didn't really use it in Genshin either, but it'll be nice to just add a little bit of a bokeh effect or some blur here and
Mhm.
there. But the one thing that oh, this is just recently. The character I got to the 5-star, the first random 5-star character I got was a character that I was not planning to ever get, and I don't really use him at all anyways, is Yanqing.
Mhm.
Apparently he's really good.
He's really
He's
good.
kind of like what is he like? I'm trying to figure like what Genshin character he's like, because
He's like
he's a good crit,
he.
single target.
I mean, aesthetically, he
He's
looks like Aether and Shao had a baby, and then
kinda, yeah.
and then his abilities look kind of like Xingqiu because he has these rain swords or his
Yeah,
ice swords.
it's like ice swords.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not really like fond of like bratty type of characters like this, or like, I know he's like happy-go-lucky kid and everything, but
Mhm.
maybe it's because the way he looks and feels now.
Wait, you haven't even met him in the
Doesn't-
story yet.
No,
Oh.
I'm sure
Okay.
he's fine.
Well, we actually
Just
it's
his
so
play
funny.
style.
The one scene that we see of him, he's kind of bratty. So like, I'm
Yeah,
sure
just
we'll
his
learn more
looks.
about him in the future.
Yeah, I'm trying not to judge a character by their looks here, but like, it's a cosmetic game. To me, like, I want this character because they look great. I'm still trying to get Himiko. Either Himiko, like Sela, just because she's on the limited banner, and like Branya, because she's like great team support. Ugh. I know this game is eventually gonna just convince me to roll because I know they're gonna have like awesome design characters. It's very Genshin-like, but they still have a very unique like design aspect to it. I feel like they may be a little bit more detailed as far as like this kind of game allows the characters to be, I guess, bigger. Like their abilities can be bigger because they don't actually have to render the whole thing into an open world scene. So they can have bigger effects, bigger skills, and just the combat is still good. I was never a turn-based game guy, and I
Mhm.
never played the original Final Fantasies. I'm still liking this game. I know there are still people who don't, and that's fine. But it's still something I can do off to the side. I can actually play this while I'm watching something else. So it's a good game to have as like a mix into like all the other games you're playing. And I know some people are gonna take this as their main game.
Mhm.
I know Genshin is some people's main game. Some people play Genshin off to the side as well. But it's a good addition to the mix of games that Hoyoverse is capable of. So we have like the open world, we have the turn-based, we have a card game built into Genshin. They have a very wide reach. I just feel like Zenless Zone Zero is gonna add like the arena fighting or like just combo
Roguelike
mashing, roguelike combat. It's only a matter of time before they make an FPS. Just wondering how they're gonna do that.
That's actually really
I don't
funny.
know
I
if
never
they
even thought
will.
about that. No, I don't think they would, but they could if they wanted to.
They totally could.
I would love an auto chess battler. That's what I would love.
I think the genre's still not as popular.
Yeah, they
'cause
can make it popular.
They could make it popular, but they still want to make a game they know is going to draw an audience too. They could do the best version of it, but I feel like it wouldn't draw as big of a crowd as like these other main games. That's why I'm
but I
saying
just
like
want to see it.
FPS is like the natural progression of if they had to.
Oh my! Can you imagine an
test
FPS
out.
with like Genshin Honkai graphics? Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
thinking
cool.
maybe third person, because if you
like Fortnite.
make it third person, yeah, if you make it all first person, then you're not gonna really see like the characters you're rolling for
That's
or like
true.
the heroes that you
That's
get or the
true.
equipment. It's not like Destiny. Like Destiny is most of a first person, but there's abilities and certain
I would be
modes
down
that-
for
or
a
weapons
shooter,
for third person.
like a behind the back third person shooter / brawler. That'd be interesting.
That'd be nice. But I mean, one of the biggest appeals of FPS is the first person aspect, especially if you have to aim.
Right.
If you want like a lot of storytelling is framed from the perspective of first person. So I mean, Genshin, you have like the big world, and then you have Honkai, which is like more narrow vision, but still implies like a heavenly perspective because you can control the camera way more.
Right.
Yeah, I'm liking Honkai for what it is. Not too many people are. We've it's even in our community question answers and discussion. So some people like this genre, some people don't. They got into Genshin because they like Genshin and they saw the appeal. This isn't everyone's cup of tea. But what about the people in Discord? What are they saying? What's our community answers, Josh?
Okay, so Kazu says, I haven't tried it yet, but I will since you guys told me I can choose my character, my boy Yanqing, who's very Genshin-like design. I love him a lot. So yeah, so like that's one appeal why a lot of people are trying Honkai Star Rail at all is because it looks very similar to Genshin. You know, the style is almost the same, but in a different setting. So it's really interesting. Paimonyaka says, I'm Trailblazer level 20 and I really like it, not as much as Genshin though. I guess I haven't been playing it for as long as I've been playing Genshin, so it might be a matter of time. And I'm emotionally connected more to Genshin because of the characters whom I feel are like my friends by now. So it might take me some time to get there, or maybe I'll just always prefer Genshin because it was my first love.
The first. You always have the first bias.
Mm-hmm. And Solito says, I do like Honkai Star Rail, but I don't want to say it's better or worse than Genshin. They operate differently and hopefully release content at different times as well. However, one thing Star Rail does do better is some quality of life that maybe Genshin can get in 4.0, and the fact that I can auto battle so it's easier to play on my phone. Agree. Sarah Q says, great music, stunning graphics, amazing cutscenes, and interesting story, and unlike Genshin, the game actually runs flawlessly on both phone and tablet. It's surprisingly lightweight, but most importantly, the character interactions in Star Rail are goofy, parody-like, and straight up hilarious. Yeah, that is the one aspect I like. Obviously,
the hilarity, the comedy.
Right, the writing. Obviously, Genshin is like this open world game that has to load a lot when you're playing the game, and so when you're playing a turn-based game, it kind of splits up the processing a lot, so you don't have to load the entire world while fighting. You just got to load the area you're fighting in, and then when you go back to the world, it loads a different area. So like it's more broken up, so your phone can handle it a little better. It can run better on lower spec devices. So even though the graphics are really nice. Umbrella says, it looks interesting, but I'm in my mid-30s and I really only have enough time to play one involved game well. Maybe I'll pick it up in a couple of years when there's a considerable amount of content and the game is really
I
fun.
felt that. I felt that one.
Rise606 says, I don't like turn-based games that much, but I like HSR. I tried it, but I've not finished the intro because I feel claustrophobic playing this after Sumeru Desert Exploration. With that said, there is a reason why I want to play again and maybe sooner. And then in Sparkles, Dan Hung. Yeah. So, yep. Yeah, it's really
different.
Funny. It is.
The space is very different.
It's funny, like, specifically after Sumeru, especially. It's, like, so open. And then you're just like, oh, now I'm in a tunnel and I have to go this way. Like, it's kind of like how Honkai could feel to some people.
I have to go this way.
But you have unlimited sprint.
You can't jump.
It's true.
It's weird.
WL Forever Banna says, have tried but not completed the initial tutorials yet. Definitely want to play it, just need some time to make it to do so. I really enjoy the storytelling so far, and for a music/bank junkie, the inclusion of Canon and D at the beginning gave me massive goosebumps and so much new meaning to the story. Yeah, that intro was so good with Kafka.
It's like a rendition. It's like it's like a cover of it. A little bit different. The notes slightly different, but you can tell it's canon.
It's nice. Strawboober says, growing up, I was the girl that preferred Kingdom Hearts over Final Fantasy, mainly because of the battle aspect. I like to smash all the buttons, and I didn't like turn-based games because they seem very slow-paced and actually made you think strategically. However, I gave HSR a try anyway because I simply love the way Hoyoverse designs their games and characters. I've been pleasantly surprised with so many things. Burst animations make the battles fun for me, even though it's still not smashing buttons. The music is great and the character design is stunning. There's so many modern humor in it as well, with the sassy answers, text messages, and garbage cans. I'm a fan. The only thing I want to add is that I'm not sure if I'll keep playing it for the long run just because of the kind of world and vibe space/futuristic is not really my thing. Which is totally fine. Yep, I mean, if you're not into the space thing, you're not into the space thing, right?
Some people's fantasy worlds or like fantasy aspect, whenever they hear that word, they think of like Tolkien style. They think of like old school like Roman army kind of thing, or like just they think more classical like aesthetics. But then futuristic is a completely different thing because there's technology involved. There's lights and just there's all kinds of like weird stuff that looks almost too hyper realistic. Some people like the romanticizing of the old ways, the old sword and like horse riding and open valleys.
Yep,
And
yep,
honestly,
medieval
I like
fantasy
that.
and
I
all that
really
stuff.
do. It's cool. It's a completely unique and separate vibe. Not too many people like the futuristic, like synth wave cyberpunk vibe.
Well, I mean, a lot of people
vibe.
do, but
that's
because it's not grounded in
different
reality,
audiences, yeah.
it's like
Very
it's a little
different.
harder for some people to like
Hmm.
because it doesn't exist yet, as opposed to, you know, like the medieval fantasy style, which was based in reality, like which is like a real thing. There were castles, there were knights, there were that stuff was
It's
real.
tangible. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this definitely feels good. Like it could totally look like this.
Yeah.
Everything in the future is like, why is it that?
Yeah, exactly. And you have to explain some scientific reason. um, but yeah, RCL said I played Star Rail quite a bit. I wanted to like it, but I just didn't. It's a good game, but it's not for me. Again, okay. I really want to play. Oh, TNT says I really want to play HSR, but my phone storage will not survive it, so I'll just play Genshin and pray that the next patch won't demand that I uninstall everything except Genshin. And speaking of impressions, they're great. It's just so beautiful and cool. I hope one day I'll be able to play it. Yeah, I mean,
Storage.
if you're
is always
if you're
a
not
problem.
playing on like PlayStation or which it's not out on PlayStation yet. It will come out in like probably in a couple months, I assume. And then there's PC. But if you're playing on your phone, if you're strictly a phone player, if you don't have enough storage, then you don't have enough storage. And Genshin takes up a lot of space. Honkai takes up a decent amount of space. So, but it'll be there. It's free to play. You can play it whenever you want. So that's cool. Kemleon said, I haven't, and I'm not, since I'm too focused in Genshin, not willing to split my time with another massive game. And again, another valid point.
Understandable.
Yep.
Completely understandable.
Insignia says, Insignia says, I wasn't quite sure I'd like it because I'm generally not a fan of turn-based combat, but it's been my new obsession. There are notable similarities to Genshin, such as the animation style and the general structure of things, but at the end of the day, it still feels like its own unique game in terms of the writing and how it feels to play, which to me makes it a good game to play alongside Genshin for variety. It's fun, hectic, and pretty clear that the writers are having a lot of fun with it, which in turn makes it really fun to play. Yeah, the writers seriously have a lot of fun with it. And I'm sure the translators are having a ton of fun with it too.
That's great. I'm sure some puns may not translate well, or like some common like everyday phrases.
Yeah. Animal Strange, I'm playing very casually 1 week in, what I like so far. My main character actually has a backbone and more attitude. Dialogue is well written, lots of jokes, memes, and Easter eggs. Daily gameplay is less grindy than Honkai Impact 3rd, we'll see in the long run. Turn-based battles are surprisingly fast and efficient once you know how. A lot of quality of life improvements compared to previous Hoyoverse games. What I don't like, can't climb or jump, can't eat in battle. I miss my NRE. Nice, yeah, the food bag.
Oh, I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, it's like the NRE menu 30 or whatever it's called. I don't know why it's called
What
that.
did it stand for? NRE. I forget what it was. It stood for something. I'll look it up later.
Okay. Tenari with Wings says, at this point people have already covered most of what I was going to say, but I'll add 2 things. 1, shenanigans. 2, pretty fox ladies. Yay. Tingyun.
Oh, Tingyun. Tingyun. Okay, do you have Tingyun?
Yeah.
Is she broken?
I don't know if she's broken, but she's really good. Especially if you have like someone like Yanqing, which I don't. She buffs people.
I might have to. Oh, she's a buffer. Okay. I thought does she affect speed?
Does she what?
Does she affect speed?
If you get her first constellation Eidolon, yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been really getting into like speed buffs now, just because.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it feels good when the enemy doesn't get the chance to attack.
Dude, I was streaming Simulated Universe yesterday, and my entire team went 3 to 4 times before, like 3.5 times before the enemy can move again, because they were frozen and imprisoned and slowed, and I didn't even use Asta. Like,
wow.
Like Welt is just so strong.
I timed it.
Uh-huh.
I recorded like a clip because the first time this happened, I thought, wow, I'm still attacking.
Mm-hmm.
I went like the longest I went where I was still attacking was like 3.5 minutes.
Dude.
Of me just straight attacking. and they couldn't do anything.
Bro, like Wealth, right? It's so good.
Yep. Welt and Asta
Mm-hmm.
is hilarious because Welt makes them slower, Asta makes you faster. And like if I have enough like energy recharge, I'm like I'm constantly casting and they just I love when seeing like the enemy's profile picture just shift down.
Right.
And I'm still
That's so
going.
good. Rex Lap isn't says I'd convinced myself to stay away to protect my free time. LOL. But now I want to give it a try because Josh and some other members of the server did a really good job at unconvincing me. I'm excited by what everyone's saying about the writing being a little off the wall. It's downloaded now and just waiting for me to give in. And then Retro Sky said I tried Honkai SR and love it. However, I don't have the time for both Genshin and HSR. I care about Genshin more, so for the foreseeable future, I'm going to continue focusing on Genshin and play more SR when I have the time. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's Discord. What are people saying in Spotify?
Spotify, more or less of the same, but they kind of condense their answers to like a sentence or two. So we have Kamisato says, I have not tried it, and I probably won't try it because I don't like round-based games. That's fair. It's not for everyone. I was the same way. However, I was genuinely surprised. If you had to pick, and of course if your time is limited, Genshin was a really huge game, and a lot of people find as much, or if not more, entertainment and value in that. Genshin's still great. We're still going to be Genshin guys. We're not changing our logo or name anytime soon.
The Star Rail studs. The Honkai honks.
No. Next up we have interesting name. Lots Now Game Psych says, I like the graphics, but I like free world exploring more interesting. But I'm going to try it. So yeah, it's worth a try. Definitely worth a look. At the very least. Next, Peachy on Genshin. I have been burnt out of Genshin, and so I played Honkai. I prefer the fighting mechanics. This is before Baizhu comes out, so he may get me back into Genshin. But for now, Honkai is my go-to. Yangqing is my fave. Okay, maybe I'll practice with Yangqing a little bit more. I don't feel like I have a team around him yet. I'm still very early.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe when I get more characters, yeah.
I mean, if you need ice, you can just use March 7th.
Totsu says, I just started today. So far, I really like it. This is a couple of days ago, so Totsu has been about 5 days into it. So far, I really like it. The characters are beautiful, and I love the music too. I already have Himiko. Oh, damn it. I already have Himiko, and I love her. I'm working on how to build these guys. Damn it. I want that character so bad. Grayish says, I have started it, and I absolutely love it. I got married to Sampo. Some people just like those kinds of characters.
I hate Sampo. He's Dory. He's the Dory of the game.
Hey, his voice actor is good though. I mean, his English voice actor.
I have no problem with
the
his performance. It's his character is the sleazy. Yeah. You never know if you could trust him. Kind of.
You really don't like Dory.
But yeah, but I don't like Sampo more, and that's because because he's everything I don't want to be in a person. I realized this the other day. Like I hear you. I don't want to be that person people can't trust. Like, like that's terrible. And so and in most cases it's like for your own benefit. And so yeah, I would never be friends with someone like that, nor do I want to be that person. So that's why I don't like Sampo. His design is actually cool. I like his design. And his voice is great, and the performance is great, but I just don't like
the archetype of character.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of character. The sleazy merchant character.
And lastly, The Quiet Gem says, I've watched my brother played it for a bit. Seems really fun. Haven't seen the gacha system yet. Oof. Haven't seen the gacha system yet. Oof.
Well, it's the same as Genshin, so if you know Genshin, then you know.
I think this, I mean, of course, it's like release, time. What do they call it? The honeymoon period?
Honeymoon phase.
The game gives you a lot of stuff early. As you get to higher level, that amount of free stuff trickles off and levels off to like none. And now you have to really earn all the currency. So, it's worth it to have like a good starting team or like, hey, try your luck. And then it slows down because you're just really focused on gameplay at that point. But yeah, overall, a lot of people still have the feeling of Genshin's my main, Honkai's the side. Some people are like, actually, I can play Honkai more. Genshin is kind of a time sink, but I mean, I'm working or I have all this other stuff, my phone space. Genshin's always been like that one that's notorious for taking up so much space. Some people literally couldn't get Sumeru because their phone was full. So,
Right.
well, we can't go to Sumeru. I like it. I'm still exploring. I know I'm gonna get a lot of playtime out of this. I feel like there's more end game repeatable things you can do in Honkai. Genshin is more like open-ended, open world. You can do it however you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, as much as you want. Very free. What about you, Josh? Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, so I guess our final thoughts for Honkai specifically is that since Kahi and I both play Honkai and we're interested in it, we've talked about possibly doing some side episodes of the podcast about Honkai. But
Bonuses?
yeah, it would be an extra thing. It wouldn't even be like there would be no schedule for it. It would just be kind of whenever we felt like it or whenever we have something to talk about. So if you're interested in hearing about that, let us know in the Discord. Let us know in on Twitter or Spotify, wherever you're listening. And yeah, maybe we'll get one of those out whenever we have some time. But that being said, I'd like to move on to our next week's question, which is, okay, so think about Baizhu and Changsheng, or like Diluc and his little owl. If you could give a playable character a pet that doesn't already have one, who would it be and what animal would it be? So let us know in the comments, let us know on Twitter, let us know in Discord, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. So lastly, let's do our last segment, which is One Last Wish. Kahi, are you ready?
Woo! I am ready.
Okay, are you gonna go first?
I'll go first, and I'll do something that I've never done before. I'm gonna roll for Ganyu.
What's that?
I'm gonna roll for Ganyu. I never rolled Ganyu the first time or the second.
Oh.
And you know what? Might as well, because it's Ganyu. I'm not really planning. I mean, I have good weapons already, but just for the lulz, I'm gonna roll once for Ganyu. I swear, if I get Ganyu, that'll be hilarious. All right, Ganyu, let's see if you can come home. Wish number 1, and it's blue. Any blue characters? There's no 3-star characters.
Oh man. No,
Harbinger of Dawn.
Oh. Well,
It's a sword.
you win some, you lose some. Alright, now I'm gonna roll on Immaculate Pulse. I'm gonna roll on Baizhu. I'm actually trying to get his C1. I'm not gonna spend anything really for it though. I'm just going to see if I can get it. Alright, let's see. Go. Oh, it's purple. Yay. It's official. Yeah.
Nice.
C27
Is that-
official. Yeah.
27. All right. Well, you win this round.
Okay, so that wraps up the show for today. Thanks for listening, and if you have the time, please leave us a comment and a review. We'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. And follow us on Twitter, once again, at Genshin Guys Pod. My Twitter at JSideGaming, my Twitch at twitch.tv/JSide, and Kahi's Twitter at Kahiao, KAHIYAO. Also, don't forget to join the Discord if you haven't already. Link is in the description. And as always,
Add Astra Abyssos.
星と支援を目指せ